good evening to you from Cameron Indoor Stadium as we continue this great weekend of ACC sports. Duke is back home after quite a road trip. The 11th ranked Blue Devils hosting the Seattle University Redhawks the day after Thanksgiving. And a happy Thanksgiving. We hope it was for all of you. Kevin Brown, Chris Patola, thanks for spending part of your Friday night with us. So 4-2, not reflective of the talent of this Duke team, which has played a gauntlet of a schedule so far, coming off a win in Arizona and a close loss to Kansas and Vegas. What are we learning about this team?
Well, I think they're still very much a work in progress, as most teams are, as we all are. But let's be honest. But I think if you're John Shire, you are more optimistic today about Duke's ceiling than you were even at the beginning of the year. And that's with going 1-2 against the top 25 teams that they have played. You know, look, I think defensively they feel like they can really defend. They have certainly gotten after it on the glass. And then offensively, that's where I think they're still trying to figure out. You know, Knipple, Cooper Flag, how can we continue to make life easier for those two guys? But they are certainly battle-hardened off of the road trip they were just on.
Do you feel like you're still a work in progress, Chris?
I always feel like I'm a work in progress, more so when I'm sitting next to you.
Well then, let's raise the roof on this. Let's all move forward. Duke's looking to advance to 5-2 with a howitzer game against Auburn next Wednesday here in Cameron. They're back home, and they're in possession first. Tony Hendricks, Tommy Morrissey, and Les Jones are our officials on this Friday night. Caleb Foster into Kaman Malawaj, part of this fabulous freshman class for Duke. And Foster will get the first look, and he'll bury a three. That is a great sign for Duke in the opening possession.
That's the one thing. They have not shot the basketball well. You know, I thought coming into the year, Duke was going to have multiple 35 to 40% three-point shooters. And it just hasn't bared out that way. And Caleb Foster, one of those guys. You know, Caleb Foster, Mason Gillis. These guys have just not shot to Knipple. They just haven't shot to the percentage that we expected coming in. But that number will continue to grow.
These are two of the big ones, Foster and Gillis, 7 and 6 for 21 respectively in the year coming in. So great to see from the Duke perspective, Foster getting the first three. Cooper Flag with a Duke foul. For Seattle, it's Malik Arlington, Braden Maldonado, John Christopoulos, the guards, Malik Goma, and M.A. Moncrief, the bigs. And Moncrief's two missed free throws end up in a basket anyway. It's Goma, the 6'8 sophomore from Seattle, with the opening bucket. Same starters for Duke, Foster and Proctor, the more experienced backcourt. The junior Proctor misses a three. Knipple, Flag, and Malawaj, best freshman class of the country. Those three are the headliners. We'll see if Duke goes a little deeper. Oh, a stuff attempt missed by M.A. Moncrief, the Oklahoma State and Georgia transfer, closing his career with Seattle. He is the most high major level talent on the roster, former ESPN 100 prospect. Foster for Knipple. Freshman from Wisconsin, Knipple. Feeds, Flag for three. And off the iron, tipped by Malawaj, out of bounds to the Redhawks.
That's the kind of open shot, though, that Duke has missed, especially against those three top 25 opponents. But it's one you can live with. That's a good shot. You know, Knipple, these teams are loading up on Cooper Flag and Knipple when they get into the paint. That was a really good pass.
There's Moncrief on the drive looking for Goma. Seattle team that's won 20 games in each of Chris Victor's first 3 years. They were the champions of the CBI College Basketball Invitational last year. A turnover here. Christopoulos loses it to Proctor. Another open look for Foster is around and out. Duke's first 4 attempts are all from three.
Well, and that's what Seattle's going to give up. You know, we've seen that with some of the lower major teams that Duke has played. Maine, Army, all those teams are willing to give up threes and hope Duke has an off shooting night to protect your paint and try to rebound.
Maldonado, a good score, a Division II transfer, whips it to Moncrief. His second three-point attempt of the year is off the iron. Blue Devils 27-9 each of John Shire's first 2 years. And again, they have blown out their 3 non-power conference opponents. Beat Arizona by 14 on the road and lost in the dying seconds to Kentucky and Kansas on neutral floors. Proctor's pass intercepted. A takeaway for the lead guard, Malik Arrington. Moncrief into the body of Flag, and he scores it. Matthew Alexander Moncrief for an early Seattle lead. Foster then into Knipple. A 3 for Con Knipple as Foster went right through Braden Maldonado.
And again, Con Knipple has not he has shot it much better against the lower division opponents than the top 25 teams Duke has played. In fact, in the 2 losses to Arizona and Kentucky, Con Knipple 1 of 16 from 3. But again, in that Kansas game, you go back and watch that game, he had a lot of open ones which John Shire said, we're good. We can live with that. Those are eventually going to go.
Yeah, 0 for 8 3, but he was happy with the 8 looks, and he also loves what Knipple can do as a distributor, feeding Malowitz there. He really played a lot through Con Knipple early in the season, had 8 assists in that Kansas game on Tuesday. Malik Arrington, Idaho State transfer. Working it inside to Goma. Around Malowitz, and Goma draws the back of the iron. Here's Proctor. 5 of Duke's first 6 attempts from 3. Flag, terrific skip, and Proctor can't connect. You like the shots that Duke's getting early?
They're open looks. That's a great find out of that 4-5 ball screen by Cooper Flag to a guy who's shooting 50% from 3. You know, you've got to take open looks. That 3-point shot for Duke has got to be a weapon come January, February, and March.
Maldonado gets hit and fouled by Knipple shooting 3s. So Braden Maldonado will take 3. John Shiner's Blue Devils up 4 at the first break. Duke battle tested early, coming off a 75-72 loss to Kansas on Tuesday. Cooper Flag in that game playing 38 minutes, all but 93 seconds. He was just 5 for 9, and we say just because, well, here's Cooper Flag, the #1 freshman in the country, most highly touted recruit in years. You look at a stat line like that, Chris, you see 9 attempts for Cooper Flag, who is an unselfish guy. Does that feel too little, or does that feel right?
I think looking at his number of shot attempts is looking at it the wrong way. Like, you're not going to convince Cooper Flag to take a bad shot. Like, he is constantly seeking the right play. I think that number speaks to Kansas and how aggressive they were to get the ball out of his hands. I also think, big picture, I think John Shire is looking for more ways, creative ways to get Cooper Flag and Con Knipple the basketball. I think they're working too hard to get their shots. I think they're having to do a lot of stuff off of the dribble, a lot of shot creation. I think it's one of the reasons they are turning it over at a high rate. I mean, Cooper Flag has 18 turnovers in their 6 games. That number's too high. So I think, you know, they've got to know where their shots are coming from, and you've got to get them in a scoring area more effectively.
Malik Brown trying to set up Flag here. Here's Isaiah Evans, the freshman, who breaks a 3. John Shire told us he was going to get Evans into the game early. He hasn't played in the 3 big games for Duke, but he's popped in the other 3, going 5 for 11 from 3. Sion James, Tulane transfer, is off the bench as well. Brown with a deflection, tried to save it, and then he takes it away again. This guy's hands are everywhere.
He is a deflection master. In the Kentucky, Arizona, and Kansas games, he had 22 deflections in those 3 games. Remarkable number.
2 steals a game in the first 6 for the Syracuse transfer. Flag, pull up 2 off the window, no go. M.A. Moncrief with the rebound.
And I think that's a settle for Cooper Flag. It's one of the reasons he's not getting to the foul line as much. He's only taken about 4 free throws a game, which is a low number given his usage and skill set.
That ball floated up and in by Malik Arlington, the junior from Auburn, Washington, and off the Maldonado free throws and the Arlington 2. Seattle's back in front after 6 minutes and change. Proctor and Flagg, the two starters on the floor right now for Duke. On a hard drive by Proctor will send him to the line, going in on Huron Dan, the freshman from China.
You know, Chris Victor, Seattle head coach, was talking to us about how his team seemed nervous during the shoot-around today. They don't seem nervous to start this game, and it helps that M.A. Moncrief, with his high major experience, was physical in his first take of the game. Nice drive there by Malik Arrington, who was Idaho State last year, transfer out of the Big Sky Conference.
There is Chris Victor, who was a junior college head coach at Citrus College, was an assistant here before being named interim head coach right before the season at 21, got the full-time job shortly thereafter. And he told us his goal with this program is to become one of the best mid-majors in the country. They're going to go to the West Coast Conference next year. Gonzaga leaving, but Seattle entering. They feel like that league is a much better fit for them geographically, like-minded institutions. And 320-win seasons in a row. This team a threat to make it back to the NCAA tournament for the first time in a long time in the WAC. Paris Dawson got tripped up. Knippel's on the floor. Brown has the Duke takeaway. Here's Sion James. It's been a little bit of a slower tempo start. That pass deflected out of bounds.
Well, that's been one of the things for a lot of teams. You know, Duke won that game against Arizona in the half court. It was impressive how Duke was able to control that game, both in the half court defensively. They dominated the glass, and they were able to execute in the half court. Teams are getting back against Duke and forcing them to play in the half court.
Knippel's back on the floor for Duke, and Flagg gets a look from three here and missed it. Tracked down though for an offensive rebound by James, and then Flagg airmails it into the breadbasket of a young Cameron Crazy. Another Cooper Flagg turnover.
And a missed three. You know, he's shooting 29% from three on the year. He's actually shooting a better percentage in those Kentucky, Arizona, and Kansas games. But I do think he's settling at times. Like, I think he needs to be more aggressive about driving the ball. And teams are going to start to dare him to shoot. They're already starting to go under on ball screens if they're not trapping him out of them. And I think teams are going to start to say, okay, make one of those before we change up what we're doing with you.
You mentioned getting easier looks for him and Knippel. What are some creative ways Duke can do that?
I think in the post, I think you can post Cooper a little bit more. Such a good passer, and if you force a double, he can play out of that. I think with Kahn, you know, getting him to curl into the lane, stuff like that, you know, where those guys can catch it with a live dribble and make a play out of there. A little closer into the scoring area.
Seattle off a Vasia Panja takeaway against Evans. Mason Gillis on the floor for the first time for Duke as Flagg sits for the first time tonight. Here's Moncrief, fifth-year senior against the freshman Evans, and Moncrief is fouled on the floor. Evans with his first, Duke's third.
You know, it's interesting, like Arizona allowed Duke to really run their stuff in the half court, and Kansas was not going to let them do that. I mean, they showed a little bit of a blueprint in how aggressive they were to get the ball out of Flagg's hands. You know, they doubled the post, they sent two to the ball, and that's what Auburn's going to do. Auburn is going to be physical, and they are going to be aggressive.
We're going to come in here on Wednesday, SEC-ACC Challenge. There's an offensive foul. Moving screen against the freshman Dan. He's picked up two quick ones. And Goma will replace him. Duke, meanwhile, with the lead, going on 4 minutes, 6 seconds without a field goal for its last four for John Shire's group. 8 of the 10 attempts have been from three. Here's another. Gillis from Knippel. Gillis misses another three. And open looks, is there a point at which you need to just be more proactive getting to the paint?
Not in a game like this, but yeah, I mean, and look, Mason Gillis has to start hitting shots because it's what he's in there to do. He shot 46% at Purdue last year, and he gives them nothing else. I mean, he's only averaging 2 rebounds a game.
There's a steal for Knippel. He gets tied up. And Seattle will maintain possession with 6 to shoot. The tryptophan still lingering for these teams. Nobody scored in the last 4 minutes and 40 seconds, despite some good looks from 3 for Duke. They've taken 2 two-point shots, 9 from 3. Chris, you mentioned Mason Gillis. Big Ten Sixth Man of the Year last year was 58 of 124 from 3. He's 6 for 22 to start this season.
Yeah, he's got to start making shots. You know, look, he's a culture guy. He garners respect. He's 24 years old. But he's also 24 years old. Like at some point, he's got to wake up, because that's what he's out there to do, is space and make threes. He's not necessarily a plus defender. He's only averaging 2 rebounds a game. So he's not giving them a whole lot. And that's why I think we saw Isaiah Evans early tonight. You know, give him a shot, see if he can, you know, make a play.
Yeah, the top 7 for Duke has been terrific this year, with James and Brown contributing off the bench. Gillis been a little slow to start. Evans got in there early. It struggled tonight. Seattle back to the line, where the Redhawks have scored now 4 of their 10. 1 for 2 for Victor Rajkovic in a 10-10 game. 8.5 minutes gone by. Duke's last field goal came about 5 minutes ago. The Malawacz layup. Foster in the paint, lost the ball to steal. The senior Paris Dawson, the transfer from Portland State, had Brown and Proctor sandwiching him. And then Foster's fouled about 70 feet from the basket by Maldonado. Malik Brown with a terrific chase down for Duke.
Well, it started with a Duke turnover. You know, once again, just penetrating into 3 guys as Seattle collapses their defense. Malik Brown makes so many plays. Like, I don't know if he's going to get a block shot on that or not. It's kind of a silent play that he makes. He just, such a force multiplier when he's out there.
Has he fit the role you expected him to so far?
Yeah, I think so. In spades. And he gives them, you know, he gives them a different look than Malawacz. Like, Malawacz, obviously, you know, lob threat, rim protection, whereas Malik Brown, really good defensively, versatile, you can switch, and then he's a very good passer on the offensive end.
Duke back on front on a Knipple jumper, their first basket in over 5 minutes. Goma to the left hand, no rebound, Gillis. Foster nearly overthrew it for Gillis, who recollects for Duke. As Malawacz back on the floor after the good minutes for Brown. Great vision by Foster, and Knipple in the corner drains it.
The spacing for Duke is excellent and has been all year. And as poorly as they've shot it, overall, they are all still threats. None more than Knipple.
8 of the 15 so far. Moncrief, a really difficult shot, and plays the angle off the window. 4 points for M.A. Moncrief out of Toronto. Is cut by Knipple. He'll force it up, miss. His first miss today after a 3 for 3 start.
It's got to be a lob to Malawacz.
Maldonado in the corner, Moncrief. His 3rd 3-point attempt of the year. He's doubled his season output and missed both. And a reach-in foul against Panja. Con Knipple, and a Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Gatorade, Wisconsin Player of the Year. First 2 games of his Duke career, it was like, this guy's going to be a lottery pick. He's the big surprise of the freshman class, and he's got a little colder since, though he had some big threes late against Arizona. But he did go a little unnoticed in this incredible freshman class. And very quickly, I talked to folks who were at Duke practices preseason. They were blown away by Knipple. And he has been much more than a shot maker for them in the early going.
Well, he was 0 for 8 in that game against Kansas and still controlled the game for Duke.
Malawacz inside for Proctor with a 2.
It's important to remember, too, like Jared McCain last year started Duke's first 4 games 2 for 13 from 3, and then went on a tear.
Christopoulos passes up to 3. This is a Duke team that has been mainly excellent defensively this year. Second in the nation adjusted defensive efficiency, only to Tennessee. Arrington, a foul there with 6 to shoot, will send Malik Arrington to the line.
It's the one thing that, so far Seattle's been able to turn the corner. That's where I think Duke's defense, John Shire telling us today, like he feels like all 5 of those guys out there can guard the ball. They've done a pretty good job defensively. They've done a good job finishing possessions with a defensive rebound.
Tomorrow's rivalry weekend matchups here on ACC Network. Duke and Wake in the Tobacco Road Series dating back to 1924. Blue Devils trying to get to 9-3. Then Mac Brown's final game for North Carolina, hosting NC State at 3:30. And the 106 Commonwealth Cup to follow. Virginia and Virginia Tech both need a win to become bowl eligible. All those games right here on ACC Network, streaming on the ESPN app. Terrific year it's been for Manny Diaz and the Blue Devils football team. Wake Forest 4-7. Duke could get to 9-3 with a victory tomorrow. Proctor for 3.
Seattle U showing a little 3/4 court pressure just to kind of change things up. And that has been the best thing that Tyrese Proctor does, catch and shoot.
Moncrief going to work on Flag. 4 years of college experience more than the 17-year-old, and Cooper played him well. Christopoulos, reputation as a good 3-point shooter, hasn't got one off yet. And Brown with the smother from behind on Arrington. That will be a blocked shot, certainly, for Malik Brown.
Tyrese Proctor coming off a game against Kansas. He had 5 threes in that, shooting a heck of a percentage so far this year. He's whipped.
There is a great basketball tradition at Seattle University. Small Jesuit school, Capitol Hill, Seattle U. You go back to the 50s and 60s, this was one of the programs in college basketball. 11 trips to the tournament, made it to the 1958 title game, led by a guy named Elgin Baylor, one of the greats in NBA history. Johnny O'Brien, a 2-time All-American, had a 1,000-point season. And then in the early 70s, financial losses for Boeing, which laid off tens of thousands of workers in the city. It was known as the Boeing bust. It really crippled the region. It crippled the school in a lot of ways. And Seattle moved all the way to the NAIA. 20 years there, back to D2 in 2002. They've been in Division I since 2012. The slow climb back. They're going to the West Coast Conference next year. Maybe not getting back to the days of Elgin Baylor, but there is great tradition they're hoping to rediscover. As Brown misses a 3 for Duke, rebound to Knipper. Flag will pass up a 3, and Flag gets hooked before the shot.
I was doing some reading today about Elgin Baylor. I didn't realize in 1961-62 he was an active duty Army reservist stationed at Fort Lewis, which is actually in the state of Washington. And he played for the Lakers on weekend passes. So he couldn't practice before the season or during the season. He would just play for the Lakers on the weekend, and he averaged 38 and 19 that year.
Are you serious? That's insane.
That's old school, right there.
That should be a 30 for 30. Elgin Baylor's weekend side hustle, scored 40-20. Patrick Gungba's on the floor for the first half for Duke, and he is fouled by Goma after the takeaway. And there was a period of time where in the 60s where Seattle, as you look at the foul on Goma, was churning out NBA players at a rate as high as anybody at the time.
By the way, shout out to my peeps at Fort Lewis, Washington. A beautiful Army post.
In the Seattle area?
I believe it's north of Seattle.
Okay. Brown, another 3-point try that's tipped by Flag. Knipper throws it right through the wickets of Dawson, and Seattle has possession. And they don't have it for much longer. Steal for Knipper, and then Brown got bumped by Dawson. It will stay with Duke.
it's interesting. Both these teams coming from Vegas. And Duke evidently had a little bit of trouble, travel delay when they were coming back. Seattle has been here. They flew right from Vegas to Durham. It's not to make an excuse, but both teams a little bit sluggish here to start this game. Well, in this first half.
I thought it was the turkey, but I think your reality may be more accurate. There's Cooper Flagg's first bucket after an 0 for 3 start. #1 freshman in the country, Cooper Flagg, and this is the largest lead for Duke. It has been a very slow expansion of that lead. They've held Seattle to 4 for 14 shooting and 6 turnovers. And Seattle now 0 for 5 from 3. Moncrief with a foul. Got entangled with Flagg. M.A. Moncrief with his first.
This is where Cooper's got to be aggressive. I mean, this is, again, against a really good defender in Moncrief. Plays through the contact, and then here's the box out on Moncrief.
Up close and personal with a graduate student, and that's the 7th Seattle foul, so 1-on-1 for Cooper Flagg.
That's the one thing. Duke's physicality has been tested. I mean, you know, you look at Kentucky and Kansas, those aren't just old teams, they are grown men teams. And, you know, you hear mathematically Duke is the tallest team in the country, but they've got young bodies. Like, they're not a big team. In fact, Kansas looked just more physical and bigger than Duke when you watch that game.
And Cooper Flagg's going up against Hunter Dickinson, who's literally 7 years older than him. Harris, Adams, the physicality of Kansas. Duke hung in there. There's a foul as Gungle out for the drive. And John Shire told us, like, my freshman year, our first road game was in January. We've already gone to Arizona, played Kentucky and Atlanta, played Kansas and Vegas. So you're a competitor, you want to win, yes, but he feels like the freshmen have showed such great poise in these big games, and they've come back from a couple of deficits to take late leads as well.
Well, that was the most interesting part about talking to Shire today is he said, I felt great after the Kansas game. Like, because John understands, because this was his process to a national championship as a player. The force of winning is cumulative. It is built up over time. Like, John lost as a freshman in the NCAA tournament to VCU. He lost in the second round of the NCAA tournament to West Virginia. Then he lost in the Sweet 16 to Villanova. By his senior year, like, he had prepared to win a national championship. You've got to do that now in a shorter timetable. Like, he's got Cooper Flagg 1 year. You've got to speed up that timetable.
Flagg gets his way to the rim physically. Foul is the 3rd on Dan. So the schedule for you, is that a good way to accelerate that timetable for Flagg and maybe a couple of others who might be one and done?
No question. Because Duke's going to be in the tournament, and frankly, they're going to play games in the ACC that are not going to help them. And I also think, just as a fan, I think John understands, and Bill Self understands, and Hubert Davis understand that as the head coaches at those programs, they bear a responsibility for the good of the game. They have to play those games. Duke has to play Kansas. In fact, I'd like them to do it as a home and home. Duke going to Fog Allen or vice versa, that's awesome.
Saw that with Carolina this year. They went to the Fog. Kansas will go to UNC next year. Duke and Arizona finishing a home and home. The lead is 10 off the free throws for Cooper Flagg, who's 4 for 4 at the line. Seattle without a field goal now for more than 4.5 minutes. Trying to hang in there at the free throw line where they've hit 8 shots, but they're 4 of 15 from the field. Deep clock again. James guarding the ball, smothering Arrington. A very difficult tool, and Gunga tips it right to Moncrief, who's now 0 for 2 on dunks. Flagg runs the screen for Proctor. Flagg on the roll. Flagg flips it for James. And Cooper soars in for the offensive rebound, and he is fouled. Great activity. Relentlessness from Cooper Flag.
There's a great kick out to Sion James. Again, the converging defense. Seattle's willing to give up that three. He makes a great pass, but he's a multiple play guy. Like, he's never out of the play. And that's how you define competitor. Like, we've heard that a lot, and it's so true about him. A competitor is they never dwell on what just happened. They're constantly on to the next play. How can I impact winning? And he is the personification of that.
Foul is Maldonado's second. It's another 1-and-1 for Cooper Flag. He's now 4 for 5 at the line, but Duke's going to keep it. Watch on the floor with James, Proctor, Flag, and then more first half minutes for Evans. James is given plenty of space. That's a long two. Tommy Morrissey signals to the scorers table. It will be reviewed at the next break. At the moment, a deep two, and Duke's lead is a dozen. James has been awesome defensively tonight. Big physical guard at 6'6", 225. Moncrief, Malowacz contests that shot. Moncrief's looking for a foul. He's all alone on the other end of the floor. Doesn't get back in the play, and it leads to an open three, which Proctor misses. Deshaun Stevens will hoist one from deep and hit Seattle's first triple. Not sure where that is on the play sheet for Chris Victor.
Sion James looks surprised.
Flag fouled again. Late whistle. He'll shoot 2 more. So Cooper Flag getting to the line more, but finally Seattle hits from deep.
Deshaun Stevens said, look, this is my shot in Cameron. I'm going to shoot my shot.
Will be the 528th consecutive sellout here at Cameron Indoor Stadium, beginning November 16th, 1990 against BC. There's Batman. And one of the special things about a day like this, usually the camera crazies are all packed with students. You got the tents, you got Krzyzewskiville outside. It's the day after Thanksgiving, so a lot of non-students, both older and younger, get to be crazies for a day, and that is the alumni band, which performs the day after Thanksgiving.
This guy gets to come to the game. What do you think he does? He grabs the Batman mask off the shelf at the house and says, finally, this is what I've been saving this thing for.
What do you think he does? I think he beats criminals to a pulp with his fists. Right?
And he says, and I'm pairing it with this shirt.
And that mustache, too.
That is both heinous, but looks really good with my Blue Devil Batman mask.
I wish he didn't put his arm over the mustache as we were discussing it. Flag goes 1 for 2. Moncrief stays in the game despite 2 fouls. Major foul trouble for Seattle U early. 4 players with 2 or more. Redhawks 1 for their last 8 from the field. On the slip, Rajkovic. James diving to the floor. It will stay with Seattle, but more great activity from Sion James.
Sion James does whatever's needed. I think he has been exactly what John Shire hoped he would be. He defends. Well, he was perfect from the field the other night. He had 6 rebounds in the Arizona game. I mean, he kind of does whatever is necessary.
Warriors at Tulane. Moncrief fouled by Malowacz. That will send Moncrief to the line for a 1-and-1. Malowacz is first. Malik Brown will replace Malowacz. So Matthew Alexander Moncrief, 13th in the nation, up to 12th now in free throw attempts, 12 a game. Much improved free throw shooter, was 51% his first 4 years, and he's been in college so long that he played with Cade Cunningham at Oklahoma State.
remember doing his games that year. They were a tournament team. They had a really good freshman class. It was Cade, obviously. Moncrief was a 4-star. And a kid, Rondell Walker, who was highly recruited. They had a really good freshman class, and Moncrief had a great freshman year.
Flag. Trotter did it.
It was interesting talking to Chris Victor today about how he's using the portal. He said, like, we're hoping to get some of those high major transfers who aren't happy with the role they were playing. So like John Christophilus at Creighton or M.A. Moncrief at Georgia.
Trying to hit the Seattle connection to which they have with Christophilus, who's got the ball now, as woefully short from 3. James across the way to Foster. James will drive it into 2. Sets up Foster, whose 3 is rebounded by Brown thanks to a tip from Flag. And then Evans cans a triple.
He's aggressive, and you love that he hasn't played, but he comes in to make an impact.
James rips it away. Down the court for Flag. There's your Seattle timeout. Largest lead for Duke. A baker's dozen. Cooper Flag up to 9 points in this first half. Sion James did the dirty work to get it to him.
Really nice run to the floor. It's good to see for John Shire. Good to see him get an easy one, too.
Duke's got 9 assists on 11 field goals. Tyrese Proctor has 3 assists. The entire Seattle team has 2 assists, both from Malik Arrington. So Duke has made life very difficult for the visiting Redhawks. A 13-point lead, closing in on 2 minutes to play in this first half. These teams have both played in Vegas on Tuesday, part of the Terry's Chocolate Vegas showdown. Seattle lost to Furman by 5, Duke to Kansas by 3. Here is Arrington, the man who has both those assists, trying to flip it over Flag, and James with another rebound, his 5th. James will drive it, and lost it on the way up. Ball handling a little sloppy for Duke. 7 turnovers now for the Blue Devils, 7 apiece. James again, this time charged a little too hard. Sion James hit with his first foul. There's Dawson to the line for a 1-1. SEC ACC Challenge beginning Tuesday into Wednesday as well. Bunch of games here on ACC Network. South Carolina, BC at 7 Eastern. 23rd ranked Ole Miss against red hot Louisville on Tuesday night. Then Vandy, Virginia Tech on Wednesday. Whole bunch of great women's games as well. Vandy, Miami, Mississippi State, Georgia Tech Wednesday. And then Thursday, Auburn, Virginia, and Florida, Clemson. Louisville right now, that game's on ESPN. They're in the championship game. The battle for Atlantis, down 2 to Oklahoma with 1:13 to go. Win or lose, though, Chris, it is great for the league to have Louisville looking like Louisville again, and a very impressive showing so far in the Bahamas.
It sure is. They hired the right guy. Coaching matters, and that team is playing in the image of Pat Kelsey. And how about Chucky Hepburn? I mean, he was good at Wisconsin. Nobody knew he had this in him.
Venetian steals coming into today. Hepburn. Here's Brown. He just fumbled it from Hepburn. Louisville winning 89-61 over a number 14 Indiana team, and then outlasted West Virginia in overtime yesterday. Another great ACC win today was Pitt on a Zach Austin 3 at the buzzer, 91-90 at Ohio State. Keeping the shot clock again. The final minute of the half. Arrington bounces. Gomar will finish. Malik Arrington now has all 3 of Seattle's assists.
The ability to get into the paint and a really nice drop-off pass.
Brown from Proctor. Brown kicks it. Evans missed it. Flag saved it. Deep one from Proctor is good. Unlimited range for Tyrese Proctor, and another offensive rebound for Cooper Flag.
And an assist off of that offensive rebound. That's twice he did that. Offensive board to a 3.
Redhawks are trying to hold for the final shot of a disjointed first half. Dawson will step in. Dawson to the teeth of the Duke defense. No. And appropriately, the half ends with a stop. Duke holds Seattle to 26% shooting in the first 20 minutes. Cooper Flag, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. A stat sheet stuffing into the half. Duke not shooting it brilliantly, just 6 for 20 from 3, but they've got some margin for error, and a dozen is the lead at the end of 20 minutes. 37-25 here. Time now to go to the studio. Our guy, Justin Walters, for the halftime report. Halftime in Durham, Duke by a dozen, 37-25 over Seattle. This post-Thanksgiving Black Friday affair for John Shire's Blue Devils. Great to be with you. Kevin Brown, Chris Patola. Apparently what happens in Vegas does not stay in Vegas, because a 3-time zone trip for both these teams. It's been a sluggish 20 minutes.
It has. It wasn't always clean, but look, I think Seattle's done a nice job playing in the half court, forcing Duke to do that. And then Duke's defense, which has been a strength of theirs in the first 6 games, was good. And it starts with their ball pressure. I mean, all 5 of these guys out there for Duke do a nice job putting pressure on the ball. And then you've got guys off of the ball, deflections. I mean, Malik Brown, that's what he's done best, protecting the basket. And then you get some scoring off of your defense. Good play here by Sion James, throwing it up to Cooper Flag. In fact, the only thing, Duke's going to have to do a better job in their defense playing without fouling. Half of Seattle's points came from the foul line. But in a sluggish half for both teams, Duke defensively certainly continued their trend.
Yeah, just 1 3 for Seattle. That was Deshaun Stevens. Malik Arrington had all 3 of Seattle's assists. Duke did have 10 assists on 12 made field goals. Proctor, Foster, and Flag all with multiple assists. See if the legs are a little bit fresher to start the second half now that both teams have shaken off the rust a bit. Blue Devils try to get to 5-2 before Auburn comes to town on Wednesday. And away we go in the second half. The starting 5 for Duke: Foster, Proctor, Flag, Knipple, and Monowatch. Maldonado, Arrington, Christopoulos, Moncrief, and Goma starters for Seattle. The outlet is Foster, who opened the first half with a made 3 and missed badly to start the second. Shot clock did not reset. Knipple playing off with 2 feet. Foster, paint attack. Proctor, no. And 2 more missed 3s for Duke, which has now taken 22 3s and only 7 2s.
And they did a nice job on both of those attempts there, playing inside out. I mean, both 2 feet in the paint, throwing out to an open shooter, which Seattle has given up so far in this game and just can't connect. Step
back 3 for Maldonado. Seattle was 5 for 27 from 3 Tuesday. The loss to Furman, 1 for 8 tonight. Spinorama from Foster. There's only 2 baskets, the first of the game and the first of the second half. Largest lead again for Duke. Christopoulos did not score in that first half. Foster gets a piece of that one, ends up in the hands of Flag, and Foster the recipient. John Shire told us before the game, we need to get Caleb Foster going. He gets himself going there with a deflection, and his 2 baskets lead to a Seattle timeout.
It's a good timeout, because this is one of those Duke runs in Cameron. Scoring off for your defense. Good to see Caleb Foster get involved in the game.
John Shire told us before the game they need Caleb Foster to be more aggressive, more assertive. Good start, Chris, to the second half.
Yeah, Caleb has played well against the lower major teams that Duke has played. You know, he was put into that point guard position this year. And he just hasn't, he has been a non-factor in the games against Kentucky, Arizona, and Kansas. You know, he hasn't shot it well. He's 2 of 11 from 3. He hasn't shot up a good percentage from the field. And John Shire today kind of took the tone and said, look, he's got to play better. You know, we need more from Caleb Foster. He's a key guy for us.
We've heard enough about recruiting rankings, probably to last a lifetime for this Duke freshman class. Foster was number 24 player in the class last year. A very talented young player. Moncrief's shot stood up there, the teeth of the Duke defense. And Foster with the first 2 baskets of this second half as Duke has opened up its largest lead. Proctor gets a switch on Moncrief, terminated the dribble. They've got flag against Maldonado, and they couldn't get it to him. And then a moving screen against Malowacz. So on Foster, we've seen Knipple and Flag as primary ball handlers often as we look at the moving screen again. It's sort of a chicken and the egg situation. I'd love to know your take. Is it those guys are handling because Foster's not playing as well? Or is Foster not playing as well because those guys are handling more?
No, I think the handling from those guys is a product of the offense they play. They play what is called a flow game, which a lot of teams are playing now, which is 5 out. There's a little bit of structure, but it's mostly giving players, you know, the freedom to make plays. And in that, your 2 best players are going to have the ball a lot. And so that's how Kahn and Cooper end up with the ball. And I do think there's some deferring from these other guys, which there should be. The other thing with Caleb Foster, you have to understand, last year was really a lost year. I mean, he was in and out of the lineup. He got hurt. He didn't start working out until August, or at least practicing. So he didn't even really have a summer. So I think he's still working himself back in.
And that foot injury early, and then the stress fracture in the ankle at the end of the year. He has started every game this season. Maldonado shot grabbed by Flag. Cooper will drive it into Maldonado this time. Outlet is Foster again. And Malowacz just overpowers Maldonado, who is called for his 3rd foul.
Malowacz is such a weapon. He's just different, you know, and he's playing about 19 minutes a game. The question is, can he get up to 25? I think that's, you know, a big part of their ceiling as well. He's just, there's nobody like him. You know, the way he blocks shots, his verticality at the basket.
Flag just threw it off Moncrief and stay with Duke.
Remember, I mean, going back to that Kentucky game, Malowacz went for 10 points and 7 boards. He played 22 minutes in that game before he got cramps. If he stays in that game, that score may end up different.
Malowacz with a quiet night so far, 4 and 3 in 11 minutes. Flag will get it to him. That's not quiet. That's different.
And that's that high screen roll we saw a lot against Kansas in the middle third of the floor. So between the 2 elbows, Knipple and Flag, and then the extra pass from Flag to Malowacz.
And a 4th assist for Cooper. It's tied for the team lead in assists with Knipple. Moncrief against Knipple, spinning around him into Flag and Malowacz. Good distribution, but Goma couldn't finish. And here's Flag again. Great find in transition and a Proctor 3.
That's a weapon. Tyrese Proctor stays hot. Now you've got that 3rd scorer, a guy who's going to stretch the defense, and a nice job just sort of lazing into the play. So you're kind of following the play, catching it in rhythm.
Kids all across the nation just heard you say, nice job lazing, and they say, Mom, Dad, see, I can do whatever I want. A little Black Friday lazing, there's a lot of that going on today.
Oh, he's lazed into taking the trash out.
Stevens, the offensive rebound, a fresh shot clock for Seattle, which has yet to score in the half. Christopoulos being bombarded by the crazies. Not sure he meant to pass it to Stevens, who then rattled out a 2, and it stays with Seattle. They've yet to score the half, but Duke has 9.
Flag. Nice pass here. He lazes into it. Be quick, but not in a hurry, Tyrese Proctor. It's a lazy day after Thanksgiving, Kevin Brown.
The 1,139th game at Cameron Indoor Stadium, formerly Duke Indoor Stadium. There's another Batman, young Batman. Multiple Batmen in the crowd tonight. This Cathedral of College Basketball, which opened January 6, 1940. Duke took down Princeton in the inaugural game here. Probably right around the time that Batman was developed by DC Comics, 1940. Coincidence? Seattle's not scored in the second half. They might want to do that. 0 for 7 to start. Dawson wants a ball screen from Stevens. And he goes nowhere with it. Stevens. Here's a 3 for Panja. No. Duke's got James and Gillis in the game with Brown, Knipple, and Proctor. And a foul against Seattle. That was Paris Dawson hitting the deck. All right, Duke is up big, 21 points, 15:08 to go. You're coming off of Kansas. You have Auburn coming up. What is important about the next 15 minutes for John Shire?
Well, you'd love to see if they could get into a rhythm making some perimeter shots. You know, this is one of those games, you know, a get-right game where maybe you can get into a little bit of a rhythm with some game shooting. Especially, you know, a Mason Gillis, a Caleb Frost, some of these guys who haven't shot well. And then you throw in Isaiah Evans back in the game, see what he gives you, and don't get anybody hurt.
Knipple had a great find there. Proctor came up short after the cut. Malik Brown just loves playing defense for 90 feet. He'll lay off Arrington. And he'll take the ball to Moncrief. There's Fassi Apanja again, fouled by Proctor. Third of the half on Duke, and Proctor's first.
You know, it's also worth noting for Seattle, they're playing without Kobe Williamson. Yeah, I mean, you call the first foul. There was 2 hands on the ball handler. It's a good call. They're playing without Kobe Williamson, who's a 6'8". You know, he really anchors their defense, but a veteran guy that they have had to play without.
All-time leading shot blocker at Seattle, averaged 9.6 rebounds, block and a half a game last year. She'll be back in mid-December from a foot injury. Dawson, end of the shot clock, violation. Turnover number 9. There is Kobe Williamson with the big curly red hair.
It's really unfortunate we missed him on the floor tonight. I mean, that is a good look right there.
Serious flow. That's a Carrot Top plus from Kobe Williamson.
It's about a 9 on that stash, too.
Proctor slicing, and another foul. That'll be Moncrief's third. So free throws coming for Tyrese Proctor. Mind of the regular season ends tomorrow in college football. Some great rivalry weekend matchups. Duke and Wake, NC State and North Carolina. It'll be Mack Brown's final game in his second stint as Tar Heel head coach. And then ACC primetime football, the 106th Commonwealth Cup. Virginia and Virginia Tech, a series that has been owned by the Hokies in recent decades. Both teams are 5 and 6, so you win, you get bowl eligible. So some significant stakes. And a significant farewell to Mack Brown tomorrow right here on ACC Network. Trying to sort out who will be in the ACC Championship as well. We know SMU will be there in its first year of the league. Miami gets in with a win at Syracuse. And if the Orange pull the upset, then it would be SMU Clemson as the ACC hopes to get multiple bids in the inaugural 12-team playoff.
Pretty gangster what SMU did. No, we don't need your revenue share.
That's
and we're
right.
going to go to the championship game in year 1.
Haven't lost a game in the league. Yeah, for folks that don't know, SMU, first several years of the ACC deal and an agreement to join the league, not taking the revenue share. And Rhett Lasty's Mustangs just beating everybody anyway. Deep three, no good from Maldonado. And rebound to James. Pretty good basketball start as well. Andy Enfield's at SMU, coming over from USC. Gillis fakes a three. Evans into the game, first time in the half. Another miss. 7 for 26 from 3 for Duke. Dawson travel. Seattle had 25 points in the first half, and Seattle continues to have 25 points nearly 7 minutes into the second. Well, there are some cute babies in the fan section, so they got that going for them. And you said this earlier, I can't remember when you said this, it's been a long day, but it's a memory you'll soak up, right? If you're a Seattle player, fan, coach, maybe not tonight. It is a memory that you'll carry as Gunber can't finish. For the rest, you'll have to come here to go to Cameron, but as a competitor, it probably doesn't feel that way right now.
It didn't for me. I mean, we played here twice when I was at Army and lost by 40 plus both games. And so, in the moment, it's a little bit embarrassing. You kind of drink in Cameron during the shoot around, but you're certainly not doing it during the game. You're just trying to keep your head above water. And you said it. I mean, no competitor wants to lose like that. But later in life, to be able to say you played in this building against Coach K, against the great teams that we played against, yeah, I mean, that's when you certainly appreciate what this is.
And you were notably a pregame player to watch on one of those broadcasts from Dan Bonner.
Dan Bonner killed me during the broadcast.
It was your 17th career start. Evans, a rim rocker. More than just a shooter, Isaiah Evans.
And John Shire's interesting saying today, he has earned the right to play. He has practiced really well.
On the blow by Maldonado, gets fouled, and he will try to score Seattle's first points of the half. Duke has all 13 since the break.
Well, this will translate in any language, in practice or in games. Isaiah Evans punching it.
Back to Cameron Indoor Stadium. Kevin Brack, Chris Patola. What is this, a sub?
Well, you get your cousins. Get a hold of your cousins.
What are you talking about? I think that was the Harris Teeter sub.
It's the Brown family.
No, come on. Seattle, it's just been a tough night. 6 field goals in the game, 28 minutes and 2 seconds long. They missed 11 straight, and they haven't scored in 8:48. Chris Victor's team picked 3rd in the WAC, hoping to be a force there. Made it to the WAC semis last year, gave Grand Canyon a good test. But this has been obviously a step above. And Braden Maldonado makes the free throw, and Seattle has its first point of the second half. Transfer from Metropolitan State University of Denver, Division II school. They're at 15 in their loss to Furman on Tuesday. Good shooter. So 50-27 is the Duke lead. Flag back on the floor, finds a cutting Gillis, who misses another 3. He's 0 for 2 off the bench from deep, and now 6 for 23 on the year. Moncrief, all kinds of trouble there. Going to the freshman stood him up. M.A. Moncrief 2 for 8 with a couple of turnovers. Catch and shoot Evans. Number 1 player in the state of North Carolina out of high school, Isaiah Evans, has 8. There's a 3 for Dawson, no. Duke will look for Evans again. out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. North Mecklenburg High School. James, hard to the rack, and a foul.
Well, Sion James has fit in so well here. You sometimes forget he scored over 1,000 points at Tulane. I mean, that's what he did. So strong, though. I mean, they just don't. Duke has not had, certainly in recent vintage, a lot of guards that look like Sion James.
John Shire loves him for a lot of reasons. One of them, he told us, is he can play James as the only guard on the floor. He can play James with Foster and Proctor on the floor as well, and doesn't feel like he ever loses size. And that is a strong 6'6", 220 for Sion James. Those 4 years at Tulane, got knocked down by the Gomez screen there. Leads to a good look for three. It's misfired by Dawson. Was not on Duke's radar really out of high school. Sion James was not on a lot of teams' radars going to Tulane, which grew under Ron Hunter and has grown. Had a couple of good years in his 4 years there, but Jay Lucas, the associate head coach, was the one who really discovered James, and he got into the transfer portal, and Duke was hoping to pick up another guard, and they were happy he was the guard they found.
It's funny, I came to watch them practice during the summer, and I saw him for the first time, and I asked Will Stevens, the strength coach for Duke, I said, does he need to lose some weight? Like, is he too big? And he said he's about 2% body fat. There's nothing to lose. I mean, he's just literally all muscle.
In the American Conference, he was the Sportsmanship Award winner back-to-back years. Did more than 350 hours of community service in Tulane. So you want a guy who's going to fit into your program on the court, and a guy who will be a culture fit off it. He is the perfect example of the good that the transfer portal can bring.
Well said. He is a delight to talk to. Engaging, authentic.
See it with 10:21 to go. Arrington hit the first free throw. All 3 points in the half have come at the line for Seattle. Arrington, despite the distraction of Mike Cousin in the Harris Teeter sub costume, hits both. I do have a lot of cousins, so it wouldn't be shocking if one of them wore a Simmons costume. I was one of 8.
See, we're finally getting to the bottom of this.
Yes, this is. Have a seat on the couch. On the roll, Foster missed flag. And then got a deflection and got it back. Now he's not going to miss him. Oh, and flag missed it.
A calamity.
There's a wild drive by Arrington. Cooper's got the rebound. Foster again. Midway through the second half, Duke has allowed 4 points in the half, all on free throws, and count that bucket for Kaman Malawach. Dawson with a foul.
It was actually a nice effort to come over. He read the play, Paris Dawson, and just late. And it's certainly for the way they're calling that now. You know, since they changed the rule last year, Kevin, that charge rule, you are much better off coming over and playing it with verticality than you are taking a charge. You are much less likely to be called for a foul if you come over vertical. If you try to come and take a charge, 95% of the time, you're going to get called for a block.
What do you notice about the way players have driven the ball in the last year plus?
It's a good question. I don't know. The thing I have noticed about the change in the rule is that officials are erring much more side on the side of calling that a block than they were the alternative with the old rule calling it a charge. In other words, I think officials are scared. I was doing a game the other day, FAU and Seton Hall, clear charge. I mean, easy charge. And the officials looked at each other, and it took them like a count of 5 Mississippi to make the call. So I think it's had more of an impact on officials.
Was that charge drawn by FAU or Seton Hall? Do you remember? Just wondering if it would have been a Pirate blockade. Here's Seattle. Rajkovic's 3 on the last possession was their first field goal of the half. Came at the 9:18 mark, and then the 14th turnover on the next one. I'm just baiting you into dad jokes, and you will not respond.
I've got a great Pirate joke that if this gets to 30, maybe I'll break out the Pirate joke. It's solid.
You don't think everyone in America was watching the game you broke it out in Charleston? Malowacz for 3. No. This is a rarity for Duke. They got Malowacz and Brown together on the floor.
You know, it's actually, it hurts you because neither of those guys can shoot it, although Malik Brown did make a 3 against Kansas. But what you could do defensively with both of them together is an interesting idea.
They each hit 1 3 on the air. Now Brown's going to try. You know what? 26-point game. Work on some things. Dawson on the deck gets rid of it. Here's Moncrief. Seattle 1 made field goal in the half, and Moncrief is tied up, so he'll shoot a 1-and-1.
I actually, you know, the 3 that Malik Brown made. I mean, it's a foul, but he's, you know, he's close there. He's coming down to make a play. The 3 that Brown made in the Kansas game was his first of the year. And I actually, at the time, it was part of Duke's run. I think they either tied it or took the lead. But it was a big shot for him to make because Kansas wasn't guarding him. And that's what teams are going to do, especially when he's out at the top of the key initiating offense like he does. So at least he keeps you honest maybe a little bit. And I think Coach Shire has been trying to build him some confidence in at least trying that.
He hit 7 at Syracuse last year, 7 for 19, so 1 for 3 this year. Moncrief gets the free throws to go. He's got 8. Duke led by 12 in the half there, plus 12 in the second. Knipple, he's a shooter. For 3 for Con Knipple, who's got 11 points.
And that's a good takeaway if you're Duke. Maybe that gets him on a little bit of a run here.
Nice slip from Goma. Dawson with a fine. Goma missed at the rim. Kicks out to Cooper Flagg. 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and there is a charge. The rarely seen charge in 2024 basketball. Flagg's second. Cooper's got a big old cut on his neck, too, as Duke slicing up Seattle. 61-34, the Duke lead. Kevin Brown, Chris Pizzola, our outstanding ACC network crew. Cooper Flagg with a very quiet triple-double watch of sorts, though we'll see if he returns to the game with 9, 9, and 7. Noted that giant scratch that's appeared on his neck sometime in the second half.
But it felt like that is a pretty lengthy scratch. It felt like that play right before the break, the charge, was a little bit of frustration. I mean, it wasn't a great basketball play.
Only shooting a 2 for 7, 3 turnovers, but the 9 rebounds, 7 assists, so some good and bad for Flagg in his 7th college game. Christopoulos finally gets on the score sheet after an 0 for 4 start. The former Creighton Blue Jay out of O'Day High School. He's actually teammates with former Duke star Paolo Banchero. Deep 3, Proctor. Offensive rebound, and the stick back not there. That's Darren Harris, the freshman, getting his first run tonight. Dawson again. He has been fired away, and he finally gets one to go. 7 for Paris Dawson, a senior from Carson, California, his first made field goal. Knipple feeding Brown. Dan stands up. Another Duke turnover. That's a dozen.
Dan is a big boy.
6'10", 228, freshman from China. Jeez. There's a blocking foul called on Knipple, his third. John Shire does not agree.
Yeah, I think John has a point in what he's saying to the official. It's the same call that Cooper Flagg got called for before the break. And that was a charge on Flagg, and I think Knipple was there in legal guarding position.
Moncrief now 4 for 7 at the line.
I'd be shocked if we see Knipple or Flagg again. I know Seattle's on a bit of a run here, but I don't think you need to bring those guys back in this game.
6-0. The 6-0 surge. The 6-0 jog, perhaps. 61-40 is the number. Next game for Duke, Wednesday, Auburn comes to town. SEC, ACC challenge. Auburn, who has been arguably, and maybe some would say not even arguably, the best team in the country so far, just blitzed its way through the Maui Invitational field. Flagg, Proctor, Malawach all on the bench along with Knipple.
That's another Auburn, another grown man team. And they are going to be physical. They're going to be aggressive. I think you're going to see a game plan a lot like Kansas had with Duke. You know, it's interesting. So many teams talk about how deep they are coming into the season. You know, we're 10 deep. We're this deep. You get into these tournaments and these benches shrink. Auburn remains deep. I mean, they play 10 dudes, and none better than that guy. I mean, he's had a National Player of the Year start to the season, Janai Broome.
Came back from 18 down against Iowa State and then really handled both North Carolina and Memphis. Yeah, if you read the Blue Ribbon Yearbook preseason or talk to teams, everybody's 10 deep. And here's the good thing for Duke. They already kind of know what they are. As James is fouled, we'll see where it shakes out with Gillis, Evans, maybe Patrick Gumba gets in there. But in the 3 tough tests, they have played 8. And the other games have opened it up. They've played 10, 11, or more. But at least a core has already congealed because they've been in those tough spots early on.
They're 7 deep, and they've been playing 8. Gillis would be that 8th guy. I think, you know, you're trying to, can Isaiah Evans get himself in there? Does he give you maybe some scoring punch that Gillis is not giving you? You know, Jeff Van Gundy always used to say, every team can benefit by playing one less guy. And especially in college, when the games are only 40 minutes, like, you need your best players out there.
I wonder, too, as Harris hits the free throws, if in the days of the portal, or it's easier if you don't play a lot to just get out, transfer, are we going to see many more teams like the old school Leonard Hamilton teams that legitimately would play 12 guys? I wonder if that shrinks now because it's just easier to say, I'm not getting playing time. I'm going to go somewhere else that will play me. It's Harris airballs a 3.
It's a good point. And I think some coaches feel like they need to play guys in order to keep their attention. But the fact of the matter is, in this current climate, you can play a guy 35 minutes a game, and he still may transfer. So,
John Shire trying to manage this amazing 6-man freshman class, the veteran transfers, Foster, Proctor. Duke team looking ahead to 5-2, leading 64-40 with 5.5 to go. They have not shot it well. 41%, 27 from 3, but they've held Seattle to 23% and 20% from 3. Christopoulos against Evans. Step back 3, no good. Strong rebound by Dan, and then he's fouled. And the one thing that jumps out off the stat sheet for Duke, can they foul less? Seattle's gone to the line 23 times today, and that is the 19th foul against Duke in the game.
Well, it's been something that Duke has done well. Now that Duke does not get to the foul line much, but they have played their defense without fouling until tonight.
One of the strange early season quirks. Duke's opponents are shooting 81% from the free throw line, and tonight Seattle's at 83%. Soon there'll be some regression to the mean there.
So you're holding the team responsible for how their opponent shoots from the foul line?
No, I'm not. That's why I said it was a quirk. I never said that. I never said that. Roll the tape. James into Dan. No. That's the 10th rebound for Moncrief, who is on the verge of a 5th double-double in 7 games. We can get another point. Dan for 3. Good size, good looking freshman who was on the under-19 national team for China. Huan Dan. A lot of international flavor to this Seattle team. Guarding Gungba right now. Oh, could not connect.
Dan's going to be a nice player. He had a dunk attempt in the Furman game that was, it caught me off guard.
Really knocked the lights out in Vegas. Christopoulos, no. And a rebound, Darren Harris, who has been the freshman probably to play the least out of these 6. Gungba's only in his 2nd game, but he was coming back from a foot injury. And John Shire will take a timeout. Duke has not hit a shot in the last 4 minutes, so try to close strong here en route to that big Auburn game on Wednesday. Annual SEC ACC basketball challenge begins Tuesday with 3 straight nights of games, starting with the women's lineup on ACC Network. That begins Wednesday night, Vandy, Miami, here on ACC Network, back-to-back doubleheaders, and then a Tuesday doubleheader on the men's side, followed by Vandy, Virginia Tech on Wednesday. Louisville fell to Oklahoma in the battle for Atlanta's championship, but still an impressive week for the Cardinals. That'll be a good game with a pretty strong Ole Miss team.
Yeah, it's a fun event. It really is. And if I could nitpick, I'd love it a little bit later in the calendar when we have more eyeballs on the sport. But I love that these 2 conferences are doing this, and you do get some really good matchups.
ACC right now. Duke, Carolina. Pitt is off to a flying start. Beat LSU. Won at Ohio State at the buzzer today. There's a miscommunication between Evans and Gungba. The next tier of the ACC, that has been a talking point for a few years now. What do you see early? Who's maybe in that 4 through 8 range, if we're going to elevate Pittsburgh up to 3rd?
Clemson, I think, will continue to get better, and they typically do. You know, historically, Clemson can struggle a little bit in non-conference. They get better in conference play, and then, they make an Elite 8 like last year. I think Wake Forest will continue to get better. Their point guard play has not been great, and as a result, I don't think Hunter Salas has had the start that we all expected, but I think they'll continue to get better.
Dan got helped by Gillis for 7 to shoot. Here was the preseason poll. Wake Forest did slip in there for first place vote. Feels like an important year to get back to the tournament for Steve Forbes, who's been so close. 7-2. The metrics did not love them. Virginia and Miami, for various reasons, have both really struggled to start the year.
Yeah, I had Miami down at the Charleston Classic. They've got a lot of soul searching to do. They did not look very good at all. And part of it is Nigel Pack is not playing well, and they just don't have a good fit. The super freshman they got, but Jaleel Bethea has had a hard time acclimating.
3-pointer missed by Evans. Now, Miami lost all 3 games in Charleston. Drake by 11, Oklahoma State by 6, VCU by 7. Gumbo with a rejection on Moncrief. Patrick Gumbo playing his 2nd college game. Number 5 center in the class of 2024.
Guy who's been hurt, hasn't really played, but he is talented. I mean, you could talking to John Shire today. He loves him and loves his potential.
He told us he's not yet in full game shape because of the early foot injury, but could find his way into the rotation more. His mom, by the way, is the all-time leading scorer at George Washington, 21-34 points. Evans draws a contact. Evans will get to the line. Try to snap a 3-minute scoring drought for Duke. Well, if the hope was that Duke was going to get some shots going, feel right, seeing some three-pointers go through the net before Auburn, that has not been the case. It's a 9 for 34. They've shot at just 39%. And to be fair, credit to Seattle, which has defended physically, but if you're hoping to take away for John Shire, like your offensive mojo back, obviously that hasn't been there tonight.
Yeah, I think, again, I think you have to look at the quality of the shots. And this offense is creating open ones. The problem is when they have played against the more athletic, the bigger teams, the Kentuckys, Arizona, and Kansases, that's when the... Yeah, I mean, but again, against the better teams, the shooting percentage has gone down. And I think that's where, you know, creating shots within that scoring area for Cooper, for Kahn with some set stuff. But they are creating open shots. No doubt about that.
But does 18 assists on 22 field goals, even in a game like this, feel particularly notable?
Yeah, the number of guys who have an assist tonight.
Flag's got 7 of them, Proctor 4, James and Foster 2, so 7 different Duke players with an assist.
You know, a good example, I was talking to Trevor Marcus, who is Duke's analytics guy, and in the games against Kentucky, Arizona, and Kansas, Cooper Flagg had 8 assists combined in those 3 games. But they track potential assists. So basically, he throws it to a guy who's open, and that player misses the shot. He actually had 24 potential assists.
Huge ovation for Spencer Hubbard, who will get into the final 206, a senior walk-on.
I'm going to hold that against Spencer Hubbard forever. I was making a point there, Spencer. The crowd erupted.
Had to stop it. Double nickel came in. Moncrief, by the way, fouled out. Possession ago, so his double-double streak to end the year, start the year will end. 9 points, 12 rebounds for M.A. Moncrief. Well, now you know the whole crowd's going to want Spencer to get a shot up. Harris would like to get some up as well. You got 3 freshmen on the floor, plus Gillis and Hubbard. Gumba against Dan, and he finally got it to drop. Patrick Gumba's first basket tonight.
That's the one thing you hear about Gumba is he's got really good hands and good feet. And he showed you there.
An interesting little battle late in the game. Gumba and Dan, 2 talented freshmen. Gumba grabs the air ball here. And Hubbard take it across the timeline with 70 seconds to go. The lead notably is 26 for Duke. Evans 3. In and out. Seattle gets to head back home after his long road trip. Dan fouled. We'll run Dan to the line for 2 more. The Seattle's 30th and 31st free throw attempts of the game. Seattle, if it doesn't hit another field goal, will end this 40-minute game with 9 made field goals. They have scored 23 of their 44 at the line. And Dan adds another. And this is going to help Duke's second-ranked defensive efficiency in the country as they've held Seattle to 19.6% shooting. Hubbard, no. Left it on the 10. Dawson. Here's the 10th-made field goal for Seattle. The Redhawks 4-3. And we'll look to see how Seattle does in rack play, trying to dethrone Grand Canyon, which has been hard to do. But ultimately, Duke is going to come out of this with a victory. Shake hands before the game's even over. That's sportsmanship. A grinded out Black Friday affair. Duke wins it 70-48. And next on tap for John Shire's Blue Devils. A few days off, and then a big one with Auburn on Wednesday.
Back at it. Yeah, that will be a big one. This place will be on fire. It's going to be important. Next couple days of practice here for Duke.
Some things to work on, but another stalwart defensive effort for John Shire's crew. Proctor 13, Knipple 11, Cooper Flag. Tough shooting night, but 9-9-7. His all-around game continues to make waves here in Durham. Duke's a winner, 70-48. For Chris Patola, our entire ACC Network crew, Kevin Brown saying good night from Durham. Enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving weekend.